Hi guys, James here from Hayes Machinery, and if your lawn is like ours, it's going to be covered in moss, lots of thatch and compacted in many areas. Well, we sell lots of different products on our website and in our store to be able to help you out with these issues. But the good news is that the sun is going to come out shortly, and today we have two fantastic machines that our friend Lewis has brought down from Weibang for us to demo. So here we have the Weibang Intrepid 384RB. It's the smaller Scarifier in Weibang's range, which is 15 inches wide, with a series of 22 blades in underneath. Weibang also do an 18-inch version with 26 blades in underneath. The main difference between the two Scarifiers, other than the width, is that this one also comes with a grass bag, which is ideal if you're in smaller gardens to be able to keep everything clean as you're going along, or if you're doing Scarifying more regularly, which is always the recommended thing to do. It's just quick and easy to be able to use the grass bag. But where we're going to be using it today, we're going to be pulling up a lot of material, and that grass bag will probably fill up in about 2 meters. So the best thing to do in those situations is take the grass bag off so it's not going to be in the way and you're not emptying the grass bag every so often, and then just rake up your material afterwards. And that one just pops off the back like so, and then the cover closes down on the back to stop any debris flying out the back and catching you in the feet. The height adjustment control is very, very easy to use on the Weibang. At the moment it's in the transport mode, which is at the front. That pulls the blades up out of the ground so that you're not catching any stones or anything like that when you're walking along with the Scarifier when you're not in use. And then to adjust the height setting on this, you've got a locking nut on the front. And you literally undo that on there, and then you can adjust the height of cut that you want. So as you do that, you wind that handle in and lock that in nice and tight. Release that back so the bed goes down, and you can feel underneath, obviously, when the machine's turned off, and you can feel how deep the blades are going. And with any Scarifying, it's always better to do that gradually. So you start nice and high and work your way down. The last thing you want to do is go in really deep to start with and end up having no lawn left. But we'll show you that later on when we start using them. So both Weibang Scarifiers come with the Briggs & Stratton 750 series engine. It's a fantastic little engine, and if you've watched our other videos like our trike build or our Boland's restoration, it's pretty much the same engine underneath, although they've adjusted a few things over the years and added a few different basics on it. As you see on the back, where we lift up the flap on the grass bag, you can then look straight into the blades on the back of the machine. It's another way to see how deep your blades are cutting when you're doing the height adjustments. It's also very easily, if you get a lot of material build up and underneath, it's very easy to clean that back out again. So one of the best things about the Weibang Scarifiers is the complete construction. Pretty much everything's made of steel. So you've got the steel deck, which is housing the blades underneath. So if any stones or any debris that you weren't expecting to fly up and hit it, it's going to be protected by the steel deck. The handles are all steel constructed, all bolted directly into the chassis, so it's all nice and rigid, so you're not going to get any flex or anything when you're using the machine. The wheels are made of a very tough nylon plastic called polyurethane. They're very, very tough wheels on there. As you can see there from the blades underneath, you've got carbon steel blades. There's 22 blades on this one going up through, and they're swing tip blades. The idea of them being swing tip is if you hit any debris in your lawn as you're going along, any stones or something else unexpected, those blades will flick back round rather than digging straight into it and trying to cut through it. All the operator controls are nice and simple on this. Up at the top of the steel handles, you've got a safety catch there, which you need to pull up first before pulling that one down to engage the blades. And your on and off switch is nice and easy, so if you ever get into any problems or want to stop the machine quickly, you can just literally hit that button and everything will cut out. Pretty much all Scarifiers on the market are belt driven. So you've got horizontal crank engine with a crankshaft coming out the side of the engine onto a pulley, and then you've got a belt going down through to the main shaft where your blades are connected. On most Scarifiers, it'll be on a single belt system, so you've just got one belt powering that down through. On the Weibang, they've actually put 2 belts on this system here. The idea of that is to be able to create a lot more traction, so if you're going through heavy material, you're less likely to get belt slip, and the longevity of the belts is a lot better as well. So now you've seen the basics of the Weibang Scarifiers. I'm going to now pass you over to Lewis, who will talk you through the Aerator.
Thanks, James. So this is the Weibang 457AB Aerator. You're probably wondering what's the difference between a Scarifier and an Aerator, and what one's the right thing to use for the application. Well, it's quite simple. Think of it like this. The Scarifier that James showed you has the solid blades, which is designed to really pull and rip the moss and the thatch out of the lawn. Then you're left to decide if you want to aerate the lawn. What aeration is where you're actually removing soil from the ground. So you're using the aerator to pull the soil out, or using solid tines to compact the soil to allow the lawn to breathe, which then allows moisture and water to dissipate, or to allow fertilizer and minerals to get down to the roots. So again, both have their application of scarifying and aerating, but then they have different benefits and they also can work well together. So if we start to look at this machine, yet again it's powered by a Briggs & Stratton 750 engine. As James alluded to, this is a very powerful and also reliable engine, just what you need for a machine like this. The Briggs & Stratton 750 engine is 163 cc's in power, which produces 3.3 kilowatt. Again, the operations are very simple. So you've got an easy on-off button here for the machine. You've got your fuel pipe, fuel funnel on and off. So again, this is in the off position, which is great for when you're transporting it, or you've got the fuel on. Your choke, again, on and off, and also your engine revs, which you would use this to adjust the speed, and this simple recoil start. So now we're down at the business end of the machine, the aerator cassette. As you'll see here, you've got 24 hollow tines. You've got, again, each tine is hollow. What this means is it goes into the ground at an angle. As it's driving across and turning, it picks up the soil, which it can go as deep as 70 millimeters, pulls the soil out, and when it comes back out the ground, the rotation motion throws the soil out the ground. You'll actually notice as you go along, small divots and chunks of soil appear on the lawn. So when you look at the aerator cassette system, you see it's 24 solid tines. Again, the metal tine, solid cassette, and also you've got the solid drive system, which uses a chain drive. The advantage of the chain drive is you've got continuous drive going all the way from the engine straight down to the cassette and also to the front drive wheels. A big advantage these tines have is they're easily replaceable. So again, if you have a reason why one has to be replaced because it gets damaged or worn over a long period of time, you can simply change each one individually. So if we have a look at the controls of the machine, very simple operation. Again, with both hands on the machine, you've got easy access to the drive. So this lever here engages and disengages the drive. So in the position you can see, it's currently in the transport or the freewheeling. So it's actually on these rear steel wheels. You would use this for if you're moving the machine across the lawn or an area you don't want to aerate. When it comes to use the machine, you've got this bar here. You simply drop it down. And you'll now see that the rear wheels lift up off the ground and the weight of the machine and the cassette system drops into the ground. Then with the engine running, simply pull on this control to engage the drive of the tines, which would cause the machine to move forward and start the aeration. So if I lift the machine back up into the transport mode, another advantage this machine has, which is a handy feature, is the adjustable folding handle. So you'll see here, you've got this aluminium bracket. You can open the aluminium bracket up, give the handle a shake, which then allows you to fold the handle all the way over, have it sitting here, which allows the machine to take up less space in your garage at home or in a van transporting from job to job. Now if we come down to the front of the machine, you can see these front bob weights. Each weight weighs 16 kilograms. The advantage this has is you can easily take weight off of the machine. So if you're working on a lawn where it's very wet and sodden and you find that you're actually digging into the ground and causing a bit of a mess, you can take weight off the machine very easily. Simply get a spanner or an adjustable or a 13mm, loosen off these brackets here at the front, turn them sideways, and you can then pull the weights out. Now again, as you can see, as I'm struggling, they're 16 kilogram solid steel weights. So if we get each one and pull them out, you can very easily take 32 kilograms off the machine. And again, if you are stuck during lockdown, you can use the 16 kilogram weights for your home gym. Staying around the front of the machine, you'll also see you've got these bars on the side. A great advantage these have is you can use them to tie onto the machine to strap them down in the van, and also they act as some protection. So if you're going up against the side of a wall or a fence, you'll bash this metal bar rather than the machine or hitting any of the rear wheels or linkage. Again, a clever little idea which gives protection to the machine and allows with longevity. At the front of the machine we have two large pneumatic wheels. Again, solid wheels driven by the chain drive. The good thing about having the chain drive going to the front wheels is when it's up top like this in the transport position, you can actually use the drive from the engine to drive the front wheels, moving it from the garage, your shed or your vehicle onto the customer's lawn without having to push this large heavy duty machine yourself. And just to remind everyone, on all Weibang Intrepid machines, they come with a 1-year commercial warranty and a 5-year homeowner warranty subject to service. This level of warranty actually backs up the quality and the reliability of the machine.
Right guys, so before we start these machines and start tearing up this lawn, I'm just going to take you around and show you the different areas where you'd necessarily use a lawn aerator or a scarifier. Because as Lewis said, they do two completely different jobs for two very different purposes. Follow me around a second, I'll just show you what we've done. As you can see, we've already cut this part of the lawn, which is great, cut it down for the first cut of the year, and we haven't cut this bit. The main reason for that, because when we were cutting this, we actually realised how bad condition the lawn was. So for this video, we've left that bit there so I could show you. So we've had a lot of mole activity this year. So over here where we haven't cut it yet, you'll see where the ground is sort of very soft. Very soft here, and there's lots of mole tunnels around. So when we're cutting it, I thought before we do anything else, I want to get that rolled down so it's flat. So we've cut that bit of ground, and we've also gone through with a roller to get that flat. Last thing you want to do is go through that with an aerator or a scarifier. So the best thing to do is get it rolled flat first. Right, so we'll come over here in a minute, we'll show you where the perfect place to use an aerator would be. Because the idea of an aerator is to be able to get air back into the ground again. And we use that a lot where you would have a lot of compacted soil. So this part of the garden where we've got a lot of traffic happens here. Everyone's running around with the kids are coming out and playing football, or we're bringing machines through to use on the garden. So this area here, you'll find that there isn't a great deal of thatch or moss, but what we have got is a very compacted part of the ground. So an ideal place here to use the aerator, where you'd go through with the aerator and punch holes in it, do the hollow tine coring and pull up those cores, which as Lewis said, the Weibang aerator goes up to 70 millimeters. So it's a really good place to use this. And then what you do is go over that with some top dressing or some lawn sand to be able to bring that back up and where you keep that drainage going for the rest of the year. Let's take you over and show a mossy area. So over here in the garden, where there isn't so much traffic, there isn't so much action happening, we've got a really mossy area. So where you find a really spongy lawn, that is the perfect place to use a scarifier, and you'll end up with a thick thatch layer, a thick moss layer. So as you can see here, we've got lots of thick moss. Amazingly, there's about 15,000 different varieties of moss around the world, whether it grows on your roof, on your tarmac drive, or whether it's on your lawn. There's thousands of them, and it doesn't really have much use. No one likes eating it. No one likes to do anything with it. Well, bar lining your hanging baskets, I suppose. That's one job for it. But otherwise, it's pretty useless. When scarifying moss, it's best not to take the whole lot off at the same time. You want to take it off little by little. And then you can treat it with different chemicals, which are iron-based, sulfate of iron, iron sulfate, liquid iron. There's lots of different things, or even lawn sand you can put on it afterwards, which will gradually kill the moss. But what it doesn't do is actually, it's not like a weed killer that just kills it instantly. What it does is works on the little hair spores and burns the end of it to stop it growing. So the idea is if you scarify one day, you then do the treatment the next day. It gives the moss 24 hours for the little hairs to recover, and then you get those nice little young hairs to then burn it off with the iron-based product. Right, let's get on and do this lawn. Right guys, it's now time to start scarifying. Time to start ripping the thatch and moss out of our lawn. But before we do, let's give her a start. So with this one, all you gotta do is just make sure that the start button is up in the on position. You gotta make sure your fuel is on there. Pull the choke across, just give it half throttle, make sure it's on the on switch on the machine as well, and then give it one good pull. Pop the choke off, give it a little bit more throttle. And then you let it warm up. So we'll go through that again in a second, but we'll just do the height first. So again, before you start, don't just go straight into scarifying your lawn. Make sure your tine's at the right height. To start with, just make sure they're just about touching the grass. And then we'll just do a little bit, and then you can just lower it gradually as you go on. So you get the absolutely perfect height of cut with your scarifier. And before you do that, just make sure that that lock nut is tight. So one thing you don't want to do is as you're going along, and the scarifier just gradually get lower as you're going along and cutting deeper into the ground. So just make sure that's nice and tight, and then that won't happen. So we'll pop her up into the transport position. We'll make sure the on switch is up and on there. We'll give it a start again. Then pull the handle up there as before. Let it down into the soil. left the grass bag on there now, and you can already see how much thatch we are collecting with the grass bag on. So if you were to do that over the whole lawn with a grass bag on, you'd go through a lot of grass bags. So the best thing to do, as said before, is do a large area or some thick ground without the grass bag on. And as you'll see here as well, so I've done 3 different stages so you can see what we've done. Whereas the first few meters I've done wasn't deep enough. The second bit was just about perfect. And then the third bit I've done too low. So you can see the 3 different grades that I've done through there, just so you can see what to do and what not to do. So I'm going to raise it back up again and we're going to crack on. So I've just stopped here for a second just so I can show you the difference between where we haven't scarified and where we have scarified. So as you can see, we still got the thick dense moss here, whereas on this bit here you can see what it's scarified up. You'll see as we go along it builds up quite a lot of clumps and underneath. Before I get to the really mossy bits, I'm just lifting the machine slightly just to make sure that's nice and clean, ready to go into that thick moss. But it's done a really good job right across the whole lawn. As we pull that moss back across, you can see how you can actually now open up the ground to be able to see into what's in underneath. There's still lots of weeds and lots of other stuff we don't want there, and you'll still find the moss there. But like I said, the idea of this is not to take out all the moss in one go, otherwise you'd pretty much just have a bare lawn. So the difference between this big, thick, matte, spongy part there compared to this nice bit here, you can see a lot more grass, you can see a lot more of the ground in underneath so that the ground can breathe. And that's the whole idea of scarifying. So let's crack on and do a little bit more. Because once we've done this way, we then change our angle and go over it again in a different direction. Not crisscross, but literally you're probably moving by about sort of 30 degrees. If you go in a completely 90 degrees round, what you'll find you'll pull out too much material again. Whereas if you just change it just slightly, you'll end up with a better finish. Let's crack on. Right guys, now that all that is down and scarified in both directions, up and down and then round to a 30-degree angle, any chainsaw users out there will know where that 30 degrees is from when they're sharpening their saw. Now it's time to rake it all up. So the best thing to do is rake up the worst of it, and then if you've got a decent collecting mower, just run over the top with a collecting mower afterwards. But as we're going to be aerating, which generally I'll probably leave a week for your lawn just to have a little bit of a break in between, as we've got Lewis here today with the aerator, we're going to do it straight one after the other. And then you'd go on and do your lawn sand, top dressing, all of that jazz as well after that. But anyway, while I go and have a nice little sit down and have probably a bit of a Diet Cola after doing all that exercise, I'm going to hand this rake over to Lewis. Hey on, mate. Have fun raking it up.
Cue the time lapse. Now that James has scarified the lawn, I'm going to show you how to use the aerator. So right now we're on a piece of lawn that hasn't been scarified, so you can see the difference. So if we start off, for starting the machine, it's very similar to James showed on the Scarifier. You've got your on-off switch on the engine, make sure it's on. Your fuel, you've got the off position and fuel on, and you've also got choke. So choke on and choke off. The engine's been started, so we'll just pull it and hope it starts first time. So you can see there how quick and easy it is to aerate a large area. This machine can actually cover 1600 square meters an hour. Now if you actually look at the divots it's pulled out of the ground, you can see they're almost like pieces the size of your fingers. So now in the lawn there's some holes where it can allow for water, moisture and fertilizer to sink down to the bottom of the root to allow drainage and also for the grass to get healthier and grow stronger. Again, this material here, you can either go around and collect it, or you can break it down with a brush and let it dissolve back into the ground in the soil as a natural fertilizer. Next, we're going to jump on the bit of grass that James scarified earlier. As you can see, we raked everything up, and I just want to show you now how quickly you can cover quite a large area with this machine. So again, if I start her up,
So there we are guys, that is our lawn all scarified and aerated. It has been an absolute pleasure to use these two machines today. You know, back when I was doing lawn care and landscaping and things, I had an old Bob Andrews Scarifier, which was all right. It was a bit tinny around the edges and sort of done a job, but that is a game changer. That is a fantastic Scarifier. And a lot of people say to us, why are they only 15, 18 inches wide? Well, as you can see from the video today, this 600 square meter piece of lawn that we've done, it took what, 30 minutes with a Scarifier and only about 20 minutes with an aerator. So it doesn't actually really matter on the width. It's not like you're using it every week like a lawnmower. So the width isn't actually that important when it comes to the Scarifier. So 15 or 18, absolutely perfect for pretty much most size gardens. I've got to thank Lewis, who's come from Weibang UK to come and help us today and sort us out with these machines so that we can do this video. He's now promised he's going to come back later in the spring with a lovely 56 centimetre professional roller mower to be able to cut the grass and make it look absolutely beautiful. So that's going to be a future vid. Thank you, Lewis. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, thanks for letting me come along today, James. I've enjoyed it, and you know what? If you look after me, we might even come back in the autumn and pick up the leaves with the wheeled back as well. Look
at that. That's what we want. Excellent service from a fantastic company. But yeah, to be able to see those videos, guys, please click that subscribe button. Lewis has promised he's going to come back for some other videos, so click that subscribe button. Please follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.